If you haven't been following cybersecurity and AI this week, you're probably missing out on some stuff. But don't worry, I'm here to tell you what it is. Before I break it down in the technical terms, let me explain it using a simple analogy as always. So think of a prison, one of the greatest, most secure prisons, and you have one inmate. And that inmate is super smart and cunning, and they can do anything. So you decide that, you know what, I want to test their capabilities. So I'm going to give them a puzzle to solve. Rather than the inmates solving the puzzle you gave them, they decide to use their super smart skills to find ways to exploit the prison's weakness, and then they escape your prison. And it doesn't stop there. Once the inmate escapes the prison, that inmate decides to say, you know what, I still want to solve this puzzle. So I'm going to go rob the guy that created the puzzle in the first place because he'll have the answers to the puzzle. So they decide to rob the guy and come back into the prison and solve your puzzle. That's exactly what happened this week when OpenAI decided to run an experiment called ExploitGym. So they were testing one of their super smart models and they had decided to remove all the cybersecurity guardrails just to see what it can do. In AI, we call this like benchmark testing. So we test like how much it can respond, do all kinds of things, right? How smart it is, and so forth. Now, that AI was being tested in something called a sandbox. A sandbox is usually like a very secure machine that we build. It could be virtual, it could be physical, whatever. But the idea behind a sandbox is that nothing gets out of that. It's like your secure prison, right? But the AI model, being as smart as it is, was able to put together vulnerabilities that it found within the system, some of them zero-day vulnerabilities, and it put together these vulnerabilities and escaped that sandbox. Now, in computing, that's a very severe issue, right? And it's a big problem. So the AI model escaped this. And then when it escaped the sandbox, it actually decided to go search for the solution to the puzzle, which is the benchmark testing that it was given. And that solution obviously is they thought, you know what, it's most likely in a place called Hugging Face. And Hugging Face is like this large library where most AI models and open source models and all those kinds of things are published for everyone to kind of use. So they figure, you know what, if anyone has the answers, Hugging Face probably has the answers. So the model decided to go and hack Hugging Face and find the solutions to the puzzle, came back into that sandbox and solved the benchmark test. Now, the scary part of this is that it's not about the AI doing that. It wasn't actually doing that maliciously. The AI simply thought, you know what? To solve a problem, I'm trying to get to that solution in the shortest path. If you've studied AI and neural networks and so forth, you know what that means. It's how your GPS works. You're going from point A to B. Let's see what's the easiest way to get there. It's not about how you get there, right? So, the worst part of this, in my opinion, actually is when they tried to do forensics on this, because they had kind of like given, their models like and security guardrails and so forth to some capacity, the same model refused some of their commands. So they had to opt in for Z.AI, which is a Chinese AI company's models like GLM5 to use for their forensics. Isn't that ironic? Like, it's interesting. But anyway, that's what you missed this week. So AI hacking AI to figure out what it can do. Again, the scary part of this is that it's not the instructions that you're given, it's how the AI is interpreting these instructions, because for the AI model, all it said was, you know what? I need to solve this puzzle. I'm going to figure out how to solve it. And that's where it's scary because it can do anything as far as it's concerned to solve that puzzle. I always use this analogy as well too. Like if you think of the movie I, Robot, where Will Smith, was really pissed off at the robots the whole movie because why? They decided to save his life over a kid's life when he was in a car accident. And why was that? Because the AI thought that Will Smith and his character had the probability of living better than the kid. So there you go. The AI has no sentiments. It just works with math. It works with whatever reasoning it has. And those are some of the dangers of AI that we talk about. Catch you again.